At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio.
Let's ride! Go!
Running hour number 2 after further review on a Wednesday, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Musso in for Moscona. Taylor Sharp, Paul O'Neill, they're along for the ride, and glad to have you along for the ride here as well as we push off the dock for hour number 2. Saints sign a safety. We'll get to that momentarily. But of course, Trey Holly, the news, he is now a Southern Jaguar. We'll talk about that, what it means for the running back room at LSU. The bottom of this hour, we'll head down to New Orleans, get a boots on the ground training camp report, day number 1 for Matthew Paris. And Brian Kelly, he met with the Rotary Club Wednesday before training camp. Every single year, Brian Kelly meets with Baton Rouge Rotary today, and a touch of baseball for LSU that I want to mix in the third hour as well. So we still have a ton to get to, and glad you were here for all of it. All right, so Tuesday, Tyrann Mathieu retires. 12-year career in the NFL, over. He'll hang up the cleats, move on. That leaves a hole in the Saints' safety room. What were they going to do to address it? We looked at it, said, okay, this is a huge opportunity for Jonas Sanker, obviously, your third-round pick here in the 2025 draft. Rookie, can he earn his way onto the field? But also, there's free agency. And Mickey Loomis, in his own way, acknowledged the Saints would explore options in free agency to replace Tyrann Mathieu. And, well, it did not take long. Just hours after the news official on Tyrann Mathieu, the Saints went ahead and signed Julian Blackmon. Jesse Palmer from ESPN, the first to report that. It was backed up and confirmed by Ian Rappaport of NFL Media. So, who is Julian Blackmon? Julian Blackmon was a third-round draft pick of the Indianapolis Colts in 2020 in the COVID draft. He has spent 5 seasons in Indianapolis. That is the extent of his NFL career. He was 26 years old a year ago, so you like the age of a guy like Julian Blackmon as well. The other thing you like, versatility and production. Julian Blackmon has been a very, very productive player so far in his time in the NFL. 5 years in Indy, 300 tackles through those 5 years, 21 passes defensed, 10 interceptions. He has played in 66 games with 62 starts. That's a lot of production from a player who's still young. That's a major check mark in the box for Julian Blackmon. Then there's the versatility. 556 snaps. Credit Ross Jackson here over at LouisianaSports.net. It's free. You should go read all of his stuff. 566 snaps in the slot. 811 snaps in the box. 2,704 as the deep coverage safety. Obviously, that's where he fits best, 2,700 snaps. But the versatility does jump off the charts. That's something that Jonas Sanker also has going for him. So you really like the addition there for Blackmon. Another check in the box. So you might be sitting there, and I'm not going to lie, I'd worry about you if you weren't. You might be sitting there saying, Moose, he checks all the boxes. He's got the size, the versatility, the production. Why is this guy unsigned in late July as training camps kick off around the NFL? How is he still a free agent? And that's a great question, and it's the question that you should be asking. And that's where the big ol' yeah, but comes in with Julian Blackmon. Darn it! I was doing so well with Julian Blackmon. Long story short, there are injury problems. That's one half of the coin. The other half is, because of that, his market has never just responded the way that he wanted it to. So, Blackmon, after the 2023 season, tested free agency. The market didn't respond. He signs a one-year deal worth less than $4 million to return to Indianapolis. He was hopeful that he would improve his odds in his market. And while he played 16 games in 2024, he was hurt for all of them. Is the third major injury kind of his career. He played through it, and we'll get to that more on that momentarily. But that's going to soften the market for you, obviously. So he remains unsigned, and the Saints pick him up. Those injuries. In 2021, Blackmon played just 6 games. Season ended on IR. In 2023, he played in 15 games, 88 tackles, which was a career high, 4 interceptions, which was a career high. Very productive season. The problem is that season also ended on IR. That's when he went and tested free agency, didn't like the market, returned to Indianapolis. In the first game of the season, the opener in 2024, he tore his labrum. Now, to his credit, he played through it. 16 games, 16 starts, and was awesome. And the Colts needed him to play through that because their secondary was ravaged by injuries. In those 16 games with a torn labrum, he turns in 86 tackles. He intercepted 3 passes. It was his second most productive season in his time in the NFL, all with a torn labrum. I love that. I love the toughness. But he's still not at full strength there. This is a guy that's going to have to remain healthy, and that the Saints are going to really need to remain healthy. If for nothing else, a depth piece. But that was kind of the conversation we had. Do they go out and get a depth and really push Jonas Sanker kind of into the forefront here and say, hey, rookie, go earn your stripes? Or is it a guy that they bring in that they feel can contribute immediately? Julian Blackmon is a guy that they feel can come in and contribute immediately with those numbers. But he's going to have to stay healthy because the Saints have other options. The Colts really didn't a year ago. The Saints do. What'll be very interesting to see is now how he will fit into the rotation when he gets into training camp. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show. Your first team safeties day number 1 of camp were Justin Reed and Jordan Howden. You saw Jonas Sanker run second team. How does Blackmon fit in when he gets to camp? My gut feeling would be second team reps to start as he gets acclimated to the system. There is no tie to Brandon Staley's system for a guy like Blackmon. So you'll probably see him run a little lower on the depth chart early in camp until he picks it up. And the later you get, keep an eye on where they have him running because that could show you an awful lot. But the health, that's the yeah, but. And given the Saints' injury history, that's a yeah, but that I'm not particularly comfortable with in bringing him in. I like the player. I like the versatility. I like the production. I like him playing through injury. But I'd like it a lot more if he hit 2024 without that injury. But then again, he probably wouldn't have been available for you here in this juncture of the offseason like he was. So we'll see how it plays out. But it checks a lot of boxes. And if he stays healthy, you might have a steal because the age is still really good here for a guy like Julian Blackburn. He'll arrive at training camp and get things underway with the rest of the New Orleans Saints secondary. All right, we're going to grab a break. Come back on the other side. Trey Holly to Southern. What remains in LSU's running back room? We'll talk about that next here on AFR.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
You need to save some money? Go to Rouse's. Get the weekly ad. Go to Rouse's.com. You can click on the weekly ad. You're going to shop for your groceries. You're on a budget. Rouse's is going to help you save. Or just go to Rouse's and look for the Rouse's branded products, because one of the most impressive things about Rouse's is whenever they have that Rouse's the R logo with the circle around it. If you see that Rouse's branded logo, so their products, they always do whatever they can to source locally. Whatever ingredients they can source locally in Louisiana, they do it for their products. And they're going to save you money. Great quality products to save you money and always a friendly atmosphere as well. It's Rouse's. The official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints, Rouse's.com. Rouse's, this feels like home.
All right, welcome back in after further review here on a Wednesday. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness, bringing you AFR. Musso in for Moscona. Moscona's on vacation. He's out the rest of the week. He'll be back with you on Monday. So Tuesday night, a little bit of a surprise. When you open up social media, you saw Trey Holly in a Southern Jaguars uniform. Brendan Fairbairn over at Louisiana First News, first to report it. And obviously it was since confirmed by plenty more. I mean, you didn't really need to confirm it. He had video of Trey Holly at practice with the Southern Jaguars. Have thoughts, obviously, on how this transpired, how Holly ends up there, what it means for LSU. But first, here's Terrence Graves, head coach of Southern, talking about adding Trey Holly to the roster.
Well, he got enrolled in school, and so we're going to give him an opportunity to work out here. And he paid his way, got admitted in school, and we're gonna give him an opportunity to be a part of our program. Let's just see what he does. Give him an opportunity. Don't put a whole lot of added pressure, extra pressure on him. Just be the young man that he is, and we know him as.
So a couple interesting things there. You would hear him say he paid his own way. Trey Holly's going to walk on at Southern and earn a spot. What you didn't hear in that cut, but Graves later did, was confirm that Trey Holly is eligible at Southern. So let's back up a little bit and kind of just the journey for Trey Holly, because this brings a pretty embattled 2+ years at LSU to a close. Trey Holly signs in the class of 2023 with the Tigers. He is coming off setting the state record for rushing for high school football. And he plays sparingly as a freshman. The highlight of his freshman year was the 67-yard touchdown run against Army in mop-up time. Leading into the 2024 season, that's obviously when the shooting incident happened up in Union Parish. It led to Trey Holly having 4 charges against him, including attempted murder. Holly turned himself in and was adamant from day one that he was wrongly accused and wrongly misidentified in the entire ordeal. LSU obviously rules him ineligible indefinitely. The attempted murder charges eventually dropped because, thank goodness, but 2 charges remained. And after that, you entered this cycle of Trey Holly's court hearing just continually being delayed time and time and time and time again. How many times did Brian Kelly have to get in front of a mic and say, oh, the resolution should come here, and then get in front of the mic again and go, well, it got delayed again. Oh, we're hoping for a resolution here. And the reasons for this just got more and more absurd. Look no further than the latest on July 7th when the hearing was pushed back because the air conditioner broke in the Union Parish courthouse. That's one of the most Louisiana things ever, but I digress. Now the hearing is hopefully set for August the 28th. But in the meantime, Trey Holly seeks greener pastures, seeks a fresh start, and he'll get that at Southern. And look, I wish Trey Holly nothing but the best. I hope the young man has a resolution soon in this court case, in his legal situation. Again, he has maintained that he was not involved, that he was misidentified. He has maintained innocence, and you were innocent until proven guilty. I hope he has a resolution, and I hope it's a very positive resolution for him so he can get his life back on track and become the football player that I think all of us thought he would be when he signed as a record-setting running back. The other half of this is, where does it leave LSU's running back room for 2025? And the short answer is, well, it's not much different than what you already had because Trey Holly wasn't practicing. I really like where LSU's running back room is for 2025. And if you've heard me fill in for Matt any time here throughout the offseason, that is like my number one question. Okay, LSU, they have to run the ball better than they did a year ago. And why will they? Like, why am I to believe that LSU will be better in the running game? You're replacing 4 starters on the offensive line. The 4 you're replacing got drafted, and you couldn't run the ball a year ago. Maybe it's because you're better in the running back room. And I really believe that LSU is better from a running back position. Look, you're returning Caden Durham, so you have experience there. Caden Durham burst onto the scene as a freshman, right? He played in every game except for one, the opener. So you're looking at 12 games, counting the bowl game for Caden Durham. 753 yards rushing, 6 touchdowns. He showed he could catch the ball out of the backfield. He looked like a complete back. He got better as the year progressed in pass protection. You'll look for him to take a big jump there as he's now the guy. But I love bringing back a guy with 750 yards who played in 12 games and did a lot of that playing through a foot injury that required him to wear like a metal plate in his cleat for the majority of the year. That brings back experience. Then you get to a guy like Caleb Jackson, who also has experience. Caleb Jackson has played in 26 games for LSU. Has it ever reached the heights that we all hoped it would, including Caleb Jackson himself? Not yet. But I will bring you back to spring practice when Caleb Jackson met with the media. And it was the most impactful media session with a player that we had, was Caleb Jackson's. I firmly believe that. And it's why I look at him and say, all right, maybe this is the year that he kind of puts it all together. Remember, Caleb Jackson also ran track at Liberty High School, was very good. He played 2 years of varsity football. He had a lot to learn still about the game of football, about the running back position. And he burst onto the scene as a freshman when he ran through that kid's soul at Mississippi State. And everybody said, oh, Caleb Jackson's the next one. I mean, as soon as that happened, it was, why is Caleb Jackson out on the field more? Why is Caleb Jackson out on the field more? And to be fair, when he got his opportunities that year, he did well. He ended up with 165 yards and 4 touchdowns as a freshman. It's not the season you just saw from Caden Durham, but Caleb Jackson was productive and made the most of his opportunities he was given as a true freshman. And the hype train started for 2024, and 2024 was disappointing. Only 44 carries and 150 yards. He did not find the end zone. And when Caleb Jackson met with the media, he talked about the freshman year hype and that he bought into it a little bit. Give a listen.
Growth-wise, like I said, I had to get way stronger mentally going through last year. Like, I went through my freshman year, and everybody saying, oh, Caleb Jackson, the next this, next that, next this. Oh, he's going to be amazing. And I kind of got high on cloud nine thinking, okay, it's just going to happen. Like, if I just keep doing what I'm doing, it's just going to happen. And that's not how it happens. You got to stay in the film room. You got to stay doing this, stay doing that, and keep stacking and keep growing as a player. So really, I just got to think, maybe I can shoot for the stars, but at the same time, I got to stay grounded and spill my feet off. I got to be Caleb Jackson, you know what I'm saying? Just play like me, run like me, read like me, and, you know what I'm saying, just be great like me.
Incredibly mature of Caleb Jackson to acknowledge that. You know what? I bought into the hype. This is going to be easy. I just have to keep doing what I'm doing, and it'll all work out. And he says that's not how it happens, and it's not. That's an incredibly mature mindset and approach for him to be able to admit that after a tough season that he had as a sophomore. And continuing with the maturity, he was asked his goals for 2025. And, you know, every player's asked that. And certain answers stand out more than others. Caleb Jackson's did. These are his goals for 2025.
Just to be more of an overall back, better at pass protection first and foremost. Short down and distance, I wanted to be better in that. Not getting denied at the goal line. What else? Be a third down back where I can get out the backfield, catch passes, all that type of stuff. And of course, just run the ball, be explosive, break tackles, and everything, all of the above.
He went through each thing. He spent time on each thing. First and foremost, pass protection. It was short yardage. Got to be better there. Want to be on the field at third down. Don't want to get denied in the red zone. On and on and on. And punctuation says, you know what? All of it. Just be a better overall back. What that also shows you, though, is two things. One, as we said earlier, 2 years of varsity football. There was a lot to learn there. There's a big jump for him. But I love the awareness and the confidence to say those things. It's easy coming off of a bad year where things did not go your way to not have that type of mindset, that workman-like mindset. And that's why. Like, that sounds like a guy who is motivated to be better at those things. And LSU's going to need him to be because he's a veteran. He's the only other veteran back that you have. I'm really fired up for Caleb Jackson's season. I think this could finally be the time where it starts to come to fruition. And you know what? He deserves it because he stuck through it. He stayed true to LSU. He didn't enter the transfer portal, any of that. He's cut some weight this offseason to kind of get back to the 225 he was playing at as a freshman. I'm fired up to see Caleb Jackson. Now, then you have Harlem Berry, 5-star freshman, #1 ranked running back in the country. Brian Kelly, during the spring, nothing but praise for Harlem Berry.
He's a natural runner of the football. He sees things that you just don't coach. And, you know, the great backs just have that natural, uncanny ability to see things on the move. And, you know, you just let it go. You know, he's got to be coached on protections. He's got to be coached on scheme. He's got to be coached on how to eat. You know, he's got to be coached on some other things, and we're doing it, and he's very receptive to that. I didn't mean to imply other, but he's really good, and I think he lives up to the billing of the best running back in the country because of his just natural instincts that he has as a running back.
Natural instincts, natural runner of the football, lives up to the billing of the #1 running back in the country. All things you want to hear. And then, you know, but there's the freshman stuff, pass protection, you know, all those things that he has to get better at. But Harlem Berry is going to play a major role for LSU offensively. He has a chance to really break games open for LSU early in his first season because he's such a natural runner of the football. That's something that Caleb Jackson still has to kind of learn. But there's a role for him if he can, you know, get the playing time and get himself on the field in short yardage. He's a bigger guy in the red zone. You love all of those things with those three. And then, oh, by the way, there's JT Lindsey, who was a 4-star himself and probably has a little bit of a role for LSU again. And then you have some other reserves like Malachi Lane and guys like that who just have played very sparingly. You have the numbers. You have the depth. You have the talent in those top 4 with Durham, Jackson, Berry, and Lindsey. LSU is much better at a running back position this season than they were a year ago. Hopefully that leads to a big change for LSU's fortunes in the running game. A lot of that's going to come to the offensive line as well. But I think you're sitting really pretty. And again, you wish Trey Holly all the best in his next journey as a Southern Jaguar. Okay, we're going to grab a break, come back on the other side. We'll head down to New Orleans, boots on the ground, training camp, day one report from Matthew Paris next here on AFR.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Yeah, I felt like it was good. It's the first day coming off of a summer break. There's always an element of you want it to be a lot cleaner and a lot smoother, but thought our guys came out. The effort was good. We'll clean up a lot of the details, and that's what training camp's all about.
New Orleans Saints, they opened training camp. There was Kellen Moore on his first day. Except for the guys on PUP list, everybody was out there today, which is a great sign as well. Participation just where you want to see it. Matthew Paris, he was out there watching day one of Saints practice. New Orleans advocate, also the Times-Picayune. He's on Twitter, X, at Matthew_Paris. He joins us now. Matthew, we appreciate the time. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Let's just start kind of overview of practice. How was it set up? Differences maybe from OTAs, mini camps? Were there any?
Well, the main difference was they were doing 11-on-11 work, something we hadn't really seen during OTAs at all, but it still felt like spring vibes. The mood was pretty relaxed. It was a crisp, easy practice. We were only out there an hour, like in 8 minutes. And we saw the quarterbacks, but that was about it. I mean, we were watching most of the quarterbacks today.
Let's talk about those quarterbacks. Looked like Spencer Rattler had an awesome day, just kind of reading the tea leaves and everything that was coming out of camp. What'd you make of him running the first team offense here day one?
Yeah, he definitely looked like the most decisive one. He got the ball out pretty fast. That was completed to receivers. Made this gorgeous throw to Chris Olave. But the other ones, they were fine. Like, you could see that they were still handling the operation. Hello?
Oh, did we lose Matthew? Are you there?
I'm here, yeah.
Okay, all right. Nope, you're good. You were saying the other ones, you could see a little chink in the armor there?
Yeah, just in terms of the operation, they were a little slower. Maybe the backup offensive lines, when there were team drills, the pressure collapsed pretty quickly. It'll be just interesting to see how, like, Tyler Shuck, for instance, he's going to handle the first team tomorrow, whether there's like a margin improvement working with the starters.
I want to come back to Tyler Shuck. What about Jake Haener, though? Because obviously, look, he has the injury, OTA's minicamp has the injury there, and it feels like most people outside looking in, I mean, I'm guilty of this, see it as Rattler Shuck. Watching Haener today, is he in a position where he could push for this job?
I would really have to see it. I kind of fall in the camp that it's, Shuck, Rattler, and they're being polite to Haener. But I asked Kellen Moore yesterday about that and why they want to see Jake Haener in this. And he said that they liked him coming out of the draft when he was with the Chargers in 2023. Kellen Moore's brother coached Jake Haener at Fresno State, and he's known Haener a long time. And I think all these three guys are still pretty unproven to where they want to explore every angle, whether, any of these guys are actually a viable quarterback. So they're going to include him in the group.
All right. So to Tyler Shuck, obviously, look, second-round draft pick, fully guaranteed deal. Kellen Moore pinpointed him. A lot of people think that might mean something. I know Kellen Moore today gave the PC answer of, we like them all. We'll see how it plays out, whatnot. If you had to put a grade on day number one for Tyler Shuck, all things encompassing the outside factors, the second-team offensive line, how did he do?
I'll probably give him a C. I thought he was average. I will say when we saw from him in the spring, you saw like clear improvement day over day. And so I think as camp goes along, he'll get better and better. But today he seemed a little slow, like I said before. The pressure got there. The accuracy wasn't super crisp, but he was fine. Like, it was just a very standard day, and I think Rattler was the better quarterback, but I'm not dismissing Shuck by any means, and I look forward to seeing how it is tomorrow.
Do you think the question that was asked of Kellen Moore, if it gives Shuck an edge because he's quote-unquote like Moore's guy, do you think there is an element to that in this competition?
I do, if everything is equal. I mean, I think if Rattler has a better camp, they're not going to go with Shuck. I think Rattler has, if he looks like the better guy, they clearly are leaning toward Rattler's experience, at least from the get-go. They gave him the first team reps and not Shuck, so they still respect Rattler, I think. But if everything's going equal, or if Shuck, surpasses him, then he'll win the job. It's a pretty close competition right now.
Said you spent most time watching the quarterbacks today out there. Makes a lot of sense. Matthew Parrish, our guest, New Orleans Advocate, Times-Picayune. If you were doing that, though, I feel like you couldn't help but notice the running backs. Devin Neal splitting first-team reps there with Alvin Kamara. How'd the rookie look?
Yeah, I thought he looked fine. I mean, this was really our first chance to see the running backs in action, just given that, they were running behind the offensive lines in 11-on-11. Kendra Miller was working with the second and third teams. Devin Neal was taking some first team, I think, and also Clyde Edwards-Helaire is another guy in the mix. I mean, running back right now is wide open. You could tell me Kendra, you could tell me Devin Neal, you could tell me Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Cam Akers. It's just very open, and I'm interested to see how that rotation stacks going forward.
A couple more for you, Matthew. Your time very much appreciated. All right. Watching mostly quarterbacks offense, but I would, if you could, love a thought on the defense, because it's the first time we got to see them in 11-on-11. And I mean, for me, as much as the quarterbacks are intriguing, and they are, and that's the story of camp, and I understand that, this defense under Brandon Staley, I can't help but, kind of just want to watch every bit of it, because you didn't have any pads in the preseason so far, and I understand you'll get that next week, but just kind of the first day, 11-on-11 team drills, the defense, what you saw.
Yeah, my first eyes went to safety with Tyrann Mathieu, unexpected retirement, who was filling in there. It was Jordan Howden with the first team. They're going to sign Julian Blackmon, so I'm sure he'll be in the mix there. Besides that, what stood out to me about Staley's defense is actually the way the players talked about it. They were very, very encouraged with the way that he teaches things, with the, kind of the different coverages that he wants to implement. Obviously, this is going to be a lot heavier of a zone scheme than Dennis Allen's last defense. And so, a lot of teams around the NFL are trying to implement this scheme because Vic Fangio has really had his influence kind of spread across the NFL. And Brandon Staley knows Vic Fangio well and has studied under him. So, I've been interested by this hire, and there was nothing I saw today that made me not encouraged.
Safety was the last thing I wanted to go to with you. Julian Blackmon, they bring him in, kind of two parts there. One, your thought on the signing and your best guess at how he does fit in. Is that a guy that comes in and kind of immediately competes for the starting role, or is that more with the current guys on the roster now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the contract is purportedly up to $5.5 million. Indicates that he'll be right in the mix, but I guarantee, a starting job isn't necessarily guaranteed. But he's pretty talented. He's had a lot of starting experience. He's been around. This is a guy that I think can adequately fill that hole that Matthew's leaving behind. But at the same time, Jordan Howden has kind of had a nice spring and has flown under the radar here a little bit, I think. So I think that's definitely going to be a competition. But if they lean toward Blackmon because he's new and has played in, the NFL for a while, that, maybe he gets the edge there. But I have to see that fold.
He is Matthew Parrish, New Orleans Advocate, Times-Picayune, with us here on AFR. Get him on Twitter, X, at Matthew_Parrish. Matthew, we appreciate the time as always, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. There you go. Boots on the ground. Day one of training camp. All eyes on the quarterbacks, as you might expect. But, man, I will continue to say it. Brandon Staley's defense is going to command a lot of my attention, too, because we have not seen it. They did not do 11-on-11 through minicamp, through OTAs, any of that. They did not don pads through minicamp, OTAs, any of that. There's a lot of questions. When we talked about this on Tuesday's show, and I went through 5 things to watch, one of those 5 things was the defense, but specifically the rookies on defense, like Jonas Sanker, like a Danny Stutzman, because you haven't actually seen them yet. You'll get your opportunity to do that here in training camp. They'll put on pads next week, and that's when that'll really start to come to light. I think the addition of Julian Blackmon is really intriguing. You heard him say there that the the contract worth up to $5.5 million. So you would think, yeah, he is going to be thrown right into that mix. Again, I'll say as he gets up to speed, maybe he's running second team. It's also interesting to hear that Jordan Howden has, kind of had a fly under the radar offseason here so far. And man, that's encouraging. Look, that's a third-year player and a guy like Jordan Howden who at times has flashed. Like at times in his Saints career, he's flashed. Really in his rookie season, mainly. I mean, played in 16 games, started 7. Now, a lot of that was kind of out of necessity due to injuries, but he was productive in that season. 43 tackles, 5 passes defense. He forced a fumble. Like, he acquitted himself well. Maybe that's a guy we are sleeping on, and he is flying under the radar. File that away. Keep that going. But I think what's also interesting with Staley's defense here is, besides the rookies, besides Howden maybe flying on the radar, is the rotation up front on the defensive line. You're going to go to that 3-4. I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense for a guy like Brian Brzee, who showed great ability rushing the passer from the defensive tackle position a year ago, to maybe play a bigger end in this system. You brought in Devon Godchaux, who's massive and is like now a 3-4 nose tackle, which is wild to think about where he was at LSU size-wise. But just the rotation, because you got a lot of guys there. You still have Nathan Shepard, Colin Saunders, Brzee, Granderson, Jordan, Chase Young. Like, there's plenty that you just bring back, not to mention, kind of what you added as well. So that's something to be very intrigued by, and you'll get more and more of that as training camp goes on. And again, when they put the pads on, man, that's really when it's going to come to light. But I love that they're energetic about the system. I love that they have nothing but good things to say about the system. I'm also not overly surprised at that. Brandon Staley's a really, really good defensive coordinator. The head coach opportunity didn't work out the first time. He'll get another one to see if he can learn from his mistakes. But one thing's for certain, he's been a very, very good defensive coordinator at the NFL level, and I don't see any reason for that to change here with the New Orleans Saints. So, again, yes, all eyes on the quarterback. I understand. We'll continue to cover that. But, man, I am just very, very intrigued about Brandon Staley's defense, because while the Saints' offense has slipped, and last year notwithstanding, they have still been a very, very good defensive team. And you would hope they get back to that here in 2025. All right, break coming up, but first, Matt Evermore.
Brought to you by Evermore. Drink Evermore, EVAMOR, Evermore.com, Evermore.com. For elite athletes, for someone who just wants a healthier lifestyle. Maybe you're a parent, you want a healthier option for your children. Evermore is a great option. I would highly encourage you, bottom line, if you're drinking tap water, don't. Bare minimum, filter your tap water. But the best option is Evermore. This is natural artesian water. It's underground aquifers on the north shore of Lake Pontchartrain, right there in Covington. They dug well into that aquifer, and I mean, it's literally thousands of years in the making. That's why they call it Mother Nature's masterpiece. That's what they're pulling out of the ground. The only filtration is take like the sediment from the ground out of the water, and it goes right into the bottle. So it never touches air until you uncap it, take that first delicious sip. Learn more where you can buy it, great retailers or online, EVAMOR, Evermore.com.
All right, we're going to grab our final break here of hour number 2. We'll come back, wrap up the hour with Tigers in the Pros. We still have to get to Brian Kelly, his meeting with Baton Rouge Rotary Club. We'll do that at the top of the next hour. And there's a little bit of LSU baseball that I want to dive in here today as well. Baseball America, the folks over there got me thinking, and there is some draft news, more signings for LSU as well. So grab a break. Tigers in the Pros, closing out hour 2 next.
Brought to you by Parish Construction Roofing, parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com. Tell you every day, do business with someone you know. That's me and Terrio and Richard Tilley and Joe Morales and Trent Davis and our whole staff. And we appreciate everyone so much who's giving us the opportunity. Our commercial roofing manager, Matt Pearson, sent us all a text that we were just awarded a large commercial roofing job today, and they heard us talking about it. And yes, of course, at your home, any roof repair, replacement, we love to help you out. We can install gutters for you. We do soft wash, do all of it. But I want to remind you that we are a commercial roofing company as well. So if your commercial building needs a new roof or repair, you're having any issues whatsoever, we have the best guy. We went and scoured the world and found Matt Pearson in Florida, and we brought him to Baton Rouge. I'm convinced there's not a soul alive that knows more about commercial roofing than Matt Pearson. So if your commercial building is having any roof issues, roof repair, replacement, or you just need options, trust me, have a conversation with Matt Pearson. We'd love to help you out. Parishbuilt.com, parishbuilt.com.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number 2 here of AFR on a Wednesday presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. We'll do so with Tigers in the Pros. Taylor Sharp with the honors today.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, we start Major League Baseball, number of games last night. Alex Bregman with the Boston Red Sox, our own Matthew Musso's favorite Major League team. Bregman in that 3-hole, 1 for 4 last night. No strikeouts. Bregman on the season for the Red Sox this year, a .291 average. Staying in the major leagues, moving over Cincinnati Reds, Washington Nationals last night. The Nationals get the victory 6-1. Jake Fraley in that ball game, 0 for 2 on the night. The struggle at the plate for Fraley, .250 batting average on the year for the Cincinnati Reds right fielder. Our final one in the major leagues, Josh Smith DH'd and led things off for the Texas Rangers last night against the Athletics. The Rangers get a 6-2 victory, thanks in part to Josh Smith. He went 1 for 3. He scored a run and had an RBI, .276 batting average for the former Tiger third baseman. Finally, little WNBA action. The Chicago Sky versus the Minnesota Lynx. The Lynx win the game, but a pair of LSU Tigers, Angel Reese, another double-double, 11 points and 11 rebounds. And then a one-time Tiger, Haley Van Lith, 27 minutes off the bench. She had 7 points, 2 rebounds to go along with 4 assists and 3 steals. A little bit of everything for the former Tiger. That is Tigers in the Pros.
What did Angel Reese shoot from the field?
4 for 8. 3 for 4 from the foul line.
Funny how that starts to work out after a year in the league, huh? Crazy.
It's almost like professional sports are hard, Moose.
It's almost like professional sports are hard, and it's almost like players are allowed to improve, Taylor. It's really just a crazy, thing to consider right there, isn't it? Crazy proposition. All right, we're going to grab our final break here. Top of the hour, Sports Center, national headlines. We'll come back. Brian Kelly spoke to the Baton Rouge Rotary Club. We'll let you hear what he said. Let me tell you, he made statements. That's next here on AFR.